earlier on in the journey when you were first, you mentioned like a period of depression. What advice would you give yourself back then? You now going back, is there something you wish you'd found faster? A person you wish you'd found faster? Either someone or someone in the, a public figure. Yeah, what kind of resources or advice would you give yourself?
So I mean, I must have had depression for maybe 4 years or something. I mean, mainly really university, and that was because I could manage it. I could stay in and out of depression, and it'd be fine because I didn't really turn up to lectures. I could just cram before the exams and kind of get by. I solved it when I left uni, started a job, and within a few months I almost got fired because of my depression, because I wasn't showing up, I wasn't performing. And it was only then that I was like, "Fuck, I need to solve this. I need to fix this because otherwise I'm going to lose my job, and then all of what I've worked for I'm going to lose." So I had a lot of leverage. And I think when you've got a lot of leverage, it's a lot easier to solve a problem because your brain is compelled to go, I need to fix this. And that's what I did. I took massive action, and there was loads of things I did. I mean, the key things that really helped was only positive music, positive conversations, no like hanging around with negative people, exercising a lot, telling people, being honest. This is probably one of the most important things. Just being honest and saying, I've got depression, I'm struggling with this. Telling people, friends, family members, acquaintances, like this isn't something I have shame around. Like, just this is something I'm working through. And once I externalized it like that, it just, most of the energy around it just melted away. And I think this is the same with a lot of mental health stuff. Our brain's so mental. When we think about stuff, it just cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles, and it takes a life of its own, and it just gets bigger and louder. When you say it, it stops it in its tracks, because you say it and you're like, oh, it's actually not that big a thing. So to answer your question directly, I would probably say try to create that leverage sooner, so I could have stopped it much earlier. And in particular, take those steps and be honest with people about what was going on. I had a partner at the time, while it was at uni early on, and I ended it with her in part because I had depression, and I didn't even tell her I had depression at the time. Crazy. So, but we live and we learn.
Interesting. The phrase massive action, which you've said a couple of times, how would you define that? What does massive action look like?
So this is a core quality of me. I think there's certain things I'm probably quite good at, and one is when I put my mind to something, I'll like really go after it, and it's a matter of when, not if. So I think this is really at the heart of achieving big things. If you can get your brain to think, right, this is going to happen, it's just a matter of when. I just need to just keep at it, and keep at it until I get it. When the brain believes that, it's just kind of all in, and then it just does everything it needs to do to get it. If you're thinking, oh, I hope I get this thing, I'm going to try to get this thing, most likely you're not, and you're most likely not going to do much to do it, because your brain is kind of half thinking, well, I probably won't get it, I might get it. So it's not that invested. The brain's quite clever in that it's constantly trying to preserve energy. And so if it doesn't think you're going to achieve something, after the willpower subsides, it's going to work against you. It's going to prevent you from taking action against it, because it's thinking, what's the point? Why waste your time on this thing? So massive action is really just doing lots and lots and lots and lots, just doing everything you can possibly think of to achieve the thing that you're wanting to. A good example is my health. 7 years ago, is it 7 years ago? Yeah. I got really unwell. I mean, so unwell that I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't go out, like couldn't drink alcohol, like nothing. Like I was permanently in pain. I had no energy, brain fog. I mean, I was totally messed. I was basically sitting on the sofa all day.
To confirm, when this came to a head, when this with health crisis spiked, where were you in the financial freedom journey?
It was probably like a couple of years. I don't know. It's hard to remember the exact timing. It's probably like a couple of years or 3 years before the end, something like that. 2 or 3 years before the end. Um, and it was that really that actually again gave me the leverage to say I need to actually start doing what I want to do because I was doing what most people do, which is like they've got these dreams of what they want to do, and they think, oh, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I'll do it. I'll do this, and then I'll do it. But then when I got so unwell, I thought, geez, if I don't do it now, I may never do it. I mean, I was so unwell, I thought, like, I mean, I don't have many more years in me. Um, I had so little energy, and I had all these grand plans for myself to do coaching, to help people, to create financial freedom, to like travel the world, do all this cool stuff. And I just thought, like, God, like what a sad life if like I just never get to do any of that stuff. So, I mean, I took a year out of work. I stopped working for like a year through trying to solve my house stuff. But in classic my form, I then started alongside really starting this fledgling business of coaching and helping people in this space because I thought, well, I've got to do at least as much as I possibly can now because this could just get worse. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does in terms of like going right back to massive action, and then also in terms of where you were in the journey. And you took time off work at EY,
Yeah,
or yeah, at EY.
yeah,
Cool. Okay.
exactly. But it was being off and I mean that unwell. It allowed me to take a step back and do nothing for a while and go, like, what do I actually want to do? So ironically, when I got well enough, and I was certainly not very well, but just like well enough to even be able to do some work, I decided at that point I'm going to leave, and then I went freelance, which on the face of it seems crazy that I would, having just got so unwell that I couldn't work, to that get just enough well to start working again, to then quit what is a very reliable job with sick pay and all of that, to then go independent with none of the protection. But in its own way, it gave me more freedom and protection because I was able to kind of actually create it myself. It's hard to explain, but
Would you have, in hindsight, have done it sooner? Maybe even later?
if I could do everything again, I wouldn't have gone to uni.
Interesting.